So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. So I am Antonio Romanucci, founding partner of the law firm Romanucci and Blandon here in Chicago, Illinois. And on behalf of myself, my law partners, Bhavani Ravindran, Javier Rodriguez, and Sam Harton, we are honored to be here today to represent the family of Jack Murray. So joining us today are Jack's parents. To my left is Donna. To my right is Tom, and then further to my left is Jack's sister Shannon, Jack's brother Ryan, and to my far right is Jack's aunt, Liz Belcaster, who also today will be the family spokesperson. So we announced today our civil investigation into the police shooting death of Jack Murray, which occurred on December 1st, 2023 in the village of Elk Grove. This incident happened right outside the family home, merely 4 doors away from their address. What we know is this, that Friday afternoon on December 1st, Jack was in distress. According to Jack's family, Jack was a type 1 diabetic, and he was aware of the impact that disease had on his physical and his emotional health. In the past, he had called Elk Grove Village police asking for help if he felt his own health and wellness were ever in danger. Jack occasionally also checked himself into the hospital for the same reasons. The family believes Jack called police again on December 1st, 2023 for those very same reasons. He felt that he was mentally and physically not right. We believe the Elk Grove Village Police Department was familiar with Jack Murray and knew he occasionally called them for help when he was in physical or emotional distress. We believe that may have been what happened on Friday, December 1st. Our civil investigation has begun, and we are focusing on officers' treatment of a known emotionally distressed person and their use of de-escalation tactics to preserve Jack's life and get him the assistance he needed. We call for immediate transparency by Elk Grove Police in the release of the 911 call. We also want release of all body cam, all dash cam, and any other footage, any security footage that they have that was in the immediate area that night. We also want release of all known prior encounters with Jack Murray at his home address. His family is deeply grieving and deserves answers on exactly what happened that Friday afternoon. We simply will not accept the police narrative or their version of the events that happened. We will not allow their police narrative to be a substitute for facts. We want truth and we want transparency. Closure for this family is of the utmost importance. The family also deserves an explanation for why they were unable and they were denied to see Jack while he was at Alexian Brothers Hospital. They were denied the ability to see him, touch him, or say their goodbyes in his final moments of breathing life. Our firm has deep experience working on cases where emotionally distressed people are encountered by police. Whether the citizen asks for help or police come across them in other ways, the simple truth is this: police must be trained in how to de-escalate this type of situation and bring it to a safe conclusion and to preserve life, not to unnecessarily take life. It is of utmost importance in getting an emotionally disturbed person the assistance they need, whether it's time, a hospital, or a social worker. But this requires training and an awareness of techniques used by mental health professionals to earn trust and bring calm to this type of situation. Further, we demand to know what type of crisis intervention training Elk Grove Police Village had, and specifically the training these officers had with shot. We have information that there were multiple shots fired, possibly from more than one officer. We've handled cases like this, including the 2018 shooting death of DeCynthia Clements in Elgin. In our years-long advocacy for national police reform, this issue of training police has been a key component. It's essential for police to know how to de-escalate with emotionally EDPs and or adding social services resources to police response calls for EDPs. We continue to push for this type of meaningful reform from Washington and at the state and local levels across the country. Now today we have reached out to Elk Grove Village Police. We've asked them to be transparent with us. We've asked them to show us the body cam. We've asked to show us the dash cam. We have had no response as of yet. And so we encourage and we ask them to reach out to us and to bring some sort of closure to this family so we can know the truth. We have not received a reply from Elk Grove Village. Now, you're asking why are we doing this today? Why is the family here in this moment of absolute sadness and crisis? It's because they love their son, their brother, their nephew, and they want to be up here in solidarity in memory of Jack. And you can see how hard this is for the family. But they felt it was important that this be done and that we get to truth so that we know what we have to do after this. I'd now like to call upon Liz Belcaster, the aunt, to the stand.
Thanks, Tony. I'm Liz Belcaster. Jack Murray was my nephew. On behalf of his parents, Tom and Donna, and his siblings, Shannon and Ryan, who are with us today, I want to express our family's deep grief at the loss of Jack's young life on Friday. We have many questions about what happened that day and really just want answers. Jack was only 24 years old and was just starting his life. He was challenged by his health issues, being a type 1 diabetic. It's a very serious disease, especially for a young person. It impacted him physically and was also a significant emotional challenge. He knew there was times when he needed help quickly, and he believed police could help him as they had in the past, and they had. We don't know what took place on Friday afternoon, but we know our family deserves answers. Thank you.
Now, as we told you today, the family will not be taking questions. I can take any and do my best to answer anything that anyone has.
How do we know that he's the one who placed the call to police? Is that just something you're suspecting at this point?
We have very, very good information that he did, Charlie. We're obviously, I can't confirm 100%, but we have very good information that he was the one that did place the 911 call.
He has done that in the past in similar circumstances.
He has called 911 in the past. He has called Elk Grove Village Police in the past when he wasn't feeling well. Whether it was physically or mentally, that was something that he had done before.
What do you make of the account by police that he was carrying him on?
Well, here's what we know so far. The police have defined this as a confrontation. And here's how I look at it. I'm confronting all of you today right now. Let's get some more information about this. Whether or not he had a knife, was the knife in his pocket? And we're not saying that he did, but let's say he did. Let's assume their scenario, their narrative. Was the knife in his pocket? How big was the knife? Where was the knife pointed? Was there some sort of action that was taken before these multiple gunshots by what we think multiple officers were fired? Was there any attempt at de-escalation other than saying drop the knife, knowing that he had these mental and emotional issues? Was this a cry for help as opposed to him being a dangerous person on the street who was potentially harmful to others? Did he really present a threat of bodily harm or injury or death to anybody at all, maybe even including himself? So that's what we're looking for right now. Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you this. This family who was living in the house was not threatened at all. Not to even say that there was a threat. I'm not trying to say that they felt threatened by him. There was no threat to these good people standing to my right and left.
In this civil investigation, are there any plans to file a lawsuit, or does that depend on if or when the release?
So I actually think, like, for example, today or tomorrow, it's too early to file a civil lawsuit. I'd like to have a little bit more information before we actually take that next step. That's why it would be so helpful if they were transparent. Showed us the body-worn camera, if it exists. Show us the dash cam. Show us the security cameras from in the neighborhood. And importantly, we also would like to see the autopsy report. So I cannot tell you that we are ready to file a lawsuit, but we are taking all the steps necessary to do so in the event we are ready. And that's why the FOIAs are going to be very important here too. And we don't want to be stopped in getting information that is publicly available and should be released.
You mentioned if the video exists, is it your understanding that it should be something that they have?
It should be something that they have. I would imagine not. I mean, we know that the trend right now in Illinois, certainly in the city of Chicago and Illinois, is to have body-worn camera. And we would be very disappointed, and we would look into whether or not it was lawful for them not to have body-worn camera. So we're going to need to explore their orders and their directives and see at what point they should have had cameras if they don't exist.
Can you guys tell us a little bit more about Jack? I mean, I know you mentioned he was 24 years old. Was he working? Is there any hobbies or any kind of interest that he was into?
So at this time, we're not going to say too much more about him. So
Can you say how far back those contacts with police were between Jack?
So I can say this, they've gone back years. So this was not just a days-long habit that he had. Some of those calls have gone back years.
Can you speak more to the fact that families denied the right to sleep in the hospital?
Well, what they were told is that Jack is a crime scene. And that's, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Just terrible. Take them out.
Can we do more?
Yeah, just,
And I
what,
think folks, we're down to about one
yeah,
more question.
why don't we bring them in the ante room, maybe? In the ante room.
Forgive me. Family, let's go.
They really felt that today was the only way that they could do something in order to give anything back to their son. So yeah, they were told that his son and his surrounding area at the hospital was still a crime scene, and so they were denied any ability to literally go into the room and say any goodbyes to him at all. I know there's no such thing as off the record. I don't know, but I will tell you, to me, it's nearly morally reprehensible to not let them in the room, even if there's a police officer there, to say goodbye. I don't understand it. I have never encountered this specific issue. For as long as I've been doing this, I have never encountered a family being denied to say goodbye. And I don't know. I'll be very honest with you. I don't know. But I'm going to find out. I'll tell you that.
Tony, can you tell us how the type 1 diabetes figures into this? Did that bring about his destabilized state? I'm just trying to figure out
Sure.
the connection.
Sure. So depending on where his insulin levels were, he could be erratic. I mean, behavior becomes very erratic if you're not on the correct amount of insulin. And that's part of the problem that we see in these types of encounters with police, And it doesn't have to be a type 1 diabetic, but anybody who's having an emotional disturbance, which is defined by, a minute, an hour, a day, a week, as opposed to a lifelong, illness. If he was having an emotional disturbance as a result of his type 1 diabetes, his behavior, it might have been erratic or unpredictable. And that's why you need de-escalation techniques. That's why you need crisis intervention training. That's why you need police officers who just don't show up, and because they see, and I'm saying this in general, not specifically, because they see weapon, their first reaction is to draw and shoot. Well, guess what you do? Well, you've accomplished your mission. You've ended life. Because when you draw a gun, you aim to use it.
One more question, then we'll be done for the afternoon.
Can I ask a little bit?
We can have,
I
yeah.
just want to ask a little bit more about the type 1. Do you know his history, how long he had when he developed it, any of that?
I don't know how long he had been diagnosed with type 1.
Typically, it's something that children at
Yeah.
a young age.
Right, yeah.
Was he on medication for, to handle his mental health issues?
Well, I know, the only thing I can reveal right now is that he was on his insulin. He was, he had the appropriate methods to administer the insulin.
Thank you. Tony, anything you'd like to say before we wrap?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks all. Really good seeing you. Thank you for being